Namaskar. Good evening to all the viewers on this very important occasion, remembering of uh, Sitar Maestro Pandit Indranil Bhattacharya ji. I would like to welcome all the esteemed guests, Ustad Ashish Khan ji, Pandit SWAPAN Chaudhuri ji, Pandit Anindo Chatterjee ji, Pandit RONU Majumdar ji, Jai VISVADEVA ji, RANJANI Sarkar ji, and ANINDYA Sarkar ji. So, at the outset, I would request Ustad Ashish Khan ji to kindly address and let us know uh, a bit more about the journey that started with Pandit Indranil Bhattacharya ji.
Okay, namaskar to everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good night, whatever the time you are all. So, talking about Indranil Bhai, he came to Maihar in 1953 to study from my grandfather, Baba Alauddin Khan Sahab. And he came with his parents, his father, the great maestro, Timir Baran Bhattacharya, and along with his wife, uh, because he was leaving for Pakistan to do some film work. So he kind of wanted his family to be with my grandfather and then with all of us, and also to have Indrani learn from my grandfather. So this is how his journey started in Maihar. And so it went quite some time, and there were some other disciples were also there at that time. Some of uh, about 5 or 6, they were mostly from Calcutta. Anyway, so finally in Indrail, after his talim, he went to Calcutta in 1962. And during this period, we became very good friends. And because I had no other friends in my head, because it was such a small place, and my grandfather never allowed me to, go outside. And because there was nothing there, not even a good high school. So I had a private tutor who used to come and teach me. But anyway, so when I found all disciples of my grandfather, uh, they're all from Bengal. So I was very happy. So every evening we used to meet together and chat and typical adda we call it. So that's how we grew our friendship very deeply. And then when he came to Calcutta, then I don't exactly remember the day. Then we started planning to why not we start play duets. So that's how our duet started, and it became very very popular because only duet they heard was my father and Pandit Shankarji, and they were also playing sometime. But our duet became extremely popular, and we used to play almost everywhere, wherever we get the chance to play. Then, unfortunately, I had to leave for America in 1967, and naturally, we got kind of cut off. But also, Indranil Bhai came to America in 1968 when my father started his a college in Berkeley, Ali Akbar College of Music. So we also played few duets, not too many. Then he decided to go back to India. So this is how our duet was very very popular. And uh, Vishwadev ji arranged a duet in England. I don't remember the year. He can tell you more in details. That was also uh, we played in London, and also we had a little recording. Yeah, and I think we also performed in Switzerland. Sorry, in Germany, where Mr. Nas Nag. We recorded, and Anindo Bhai played with us, and it was a very, I think, probably our best recording so far. I like that the quality because we really hard, and we had a very good engineer, and it was recorded digitally, very special microphones, and we recorded one day. We did the mix down, and I think that is my favorite duet CD with Sitar Bhai. Then, of course, in England, when Jayaji did our concert, he also recorded because later on it's been released with a cover, nice cover in front. There's my grandfather picture, and the year both sitting down. So it's a very short story, but I really miss him so much because he was a great sitarist and after he's gone, because mainly he has learned from my grandfather, so he's my guru bhai and a great disciple of my grandfather and son of Pandit Indranil Bhattacharya. So in a short, I definitely miss him, and I wish he was alive. And then later on, I think he became professor at Shantiket and Vishwabharati. He settled with his wife and his daughter, the only child. Uh, so I met him in Shantiniketan few times, and that's all I can say right now about him. But we lost a great sitarist, and I really miss him a lot because I wish he was alive and he could have played more duets because after he's gone, there is no duet anymore with the sarod and sitar. Though a lot of people try to imitate, copy, but it's not the same quality or same standard. So that's all I can say in a short. And if you want to ask me any question, I would love to
Yeah.
answer them.
Ustadji,
But I'm
yeah, thank you so
yeah.
much. We'll just play a very short clipping of the duet that I have a audio, and then I would like to speak about it.
What happened? The voice got cut off.
Yeah. So yeah, Ustadji, there was a very short audio that we played. So
Hmm.
we just wanted to know that in this we find there is so much complementing of each other, that chemistry of Jugalbandi. There is no hurry,
Uh-huh.
each one sharing, waiting for each other. Something very unique. I would like you to, if you can share a little bit about that, how that came into.
Yeah, I mean, our duet was really, it was the next popular duet after my father and Rabiji. And of course, at Rahis Khan Saab, Amjad Bhai, excuse me, were also playing, but they didn't continue. I wish they would have continued. and this was in he played. Yeah, they played in Calcutta few times, and then I think they did not continue this. I wish they would have continued. Anyway, so that's the story of our duet, which is unfortunately it's not happening anymore. But maybe in future somebody will come up. That's all I can say.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, Ustadji. Now I would request Pandit Swapan Chaudhuri ji to kindly let us know more about those days where the Riyaz and the Baitak days with Pandit Indranil Bhattacharya ji.
Well, Ashita already mentioned everything about Indrada.
Yeah.
But I came to know Indrada in 1957. The first time when I went to Maihar. And that was also when Alauddin Khan Sahib asked my father to bring me over there. And that was during the summertime of the school break. And so I went to Maihar, and at that time, Alauddin Khan Sahib's he was teaching last batch. And I remember it was Indranilda, Ravin Ghosh, violin. There was one person, his name was David, I forgot his last name, he was from Sri Lanka. And Basant Rai, who was also a very good Sarat player, and he also left us. So that was the last batch, but he was very disciplinarian, Alauddin Khan Sahib, and very strict. But there was nothing which Ashisha was saying at that time. Maihar was like not even a village. I cannot believe that there was no car. Only thing which I said, the bullock cart, people used to, that was the conveyance. And if people has a bicycle, there was no electricity at that time. But Alauddin Khan Sahib had this rules that nobody can socialize with each other. All the students, they are a young group, and at that time I was like 12 years old. So, but they used to, in the evening time when it was Alauddin Khan Sahib's namaz time, or taking a little rest, and that was the time when they used to get together in a place. It was little far from Alauddin Khan Sahib's house. And they used to chat, and they used to all play together. That was the whole thing, idea. And so I saw at that time Indranilda, and but what Alauddin Khan Sahib told my father, it was very interesting. One day in the breakfast, we were having breakfast, and he said that there will be another Ravi Shankar. This is my Indra. Indranil will be another Ravi Shankar. And then when Indra came back to Kolkata, and then he used to stay in Hajra Road. I remember that when Gidu was a little kid, like crawling baby, and I used to go to his place because it was very close from my house. It is maybe 10 minutes. So I used to go there and practice with him, and then after I was trying to establish myself as a musician, and then we were playing all together, in a concert or some baitak, what you just mentioned. and then played with, with Ashita was at that time near to our house, walking distance, in fact. Uh, so it was a very fun time at those days. And Indranilda, he was not only a musician, but he was a great human being. He was so loving and giving, and he had very soft heart. I have seen that some of his students who were little, they're from poor family, and they were coming to study with him, and sometimes they could not even give his tuition fee, and they used to cry, and Indra used to say, don't worry, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And then Indranilda's wife, Bodhi, sometimes used to see, if you do that, then who is going to feed you? So, that was that chapter. And then after that, Indranilda became a lecturer in Ravindra Bharati University. And at that time, I was also working in Ravindra Bharati University. So after me, Indranilda came in the faculty, stayed there for a while, and then he got a better opportunity in Vishabharati. And then he went to Vishabharati. But what a musician he was. He was just a fascinating. His whole concept, the thing about Indranilda, which I really like, because he did not imitate. Because in the music scene nowadays, we see a lot of imitation is happening, But he just created his own style. He established that. And so whenever you hear Indranilda, you could identify that this is Indranilda. And his background was so strong. His father, of course, Timirban, and one of his cousin brother. He was also a great sitar player. So he was coming from the musician's family, very strong background, but at the same time, he was also a very hardworking person. And I was very happy to see him, being with him, doing adda, means, chatting, not playing at that time. We were also very naughty at that time. We were young. So we used to travel a lot. We did travel a lot. And then everybody went in a separate way, I came to US, and in 81, when Ali Akbar Khan Sahib asked me to come and teach here, and Indranilda went to Shantiniketan, and at one point he became a vice chancellor to Vishabharati, and he was very popular among the students. He was a good teacher, and but he did not really take care of his health. He was he didn't think about that, because just looking at him, he never thought that he has any problem, and we never knew that he had any problem. He was so strong and very positive. He has always that energy, positive energy. He used to always tell me that, and in fact, I did. He used to say that when you come back from US, bring all the flower seeds, so I can plant it. And so whenever I used to go back to India, I used to bring all different seeds of dahlia and bulb. Dahlia was a bulb, and then marigold, which we call ganda phool. So I used to bring, and he used to be so happy to see those things and plant it. So, but I really miss him. Because we were in the generation, the bondage between us among all the musicians were very tight. Not expecting any interest or anything to get, but just the love and that attachment. Even if we didn't see or meet, but we had that strong bondage, which nowadays I think we are all lacking. And we don't have that bondage, that attachment. We feel like that everything is very kind of mechanical. It's like fake, I would say. But Indranilda, yes, I do remember him, and I will always remember him as a great musician, as a great brother, as a great friend, and a great human being. So that's all I can say about Indranilda, and there are a lot of stories. I don't want to get into that. I want everybody to also speak about him.
Yeah, thank you, Panditji.
Thank you.
We'll just listen to a short clipping.
Wow.
Now I would like to request Pandit ANINDO Chatterjee to kindly share with us some of the great experiences that you would have had with Pandit Indranil Bhattacharya ji.
Yes,
अनिंदो जी स्पेशली हम चाहेंगे कि उसमें थोड़ा सा संगीत के बारे में भी उनका जो लयकारी का पैटर्न और उसके बारे में भी ठहराव के बारे में थोड़ा सा.
लयकारी तो तबला में थोड़ा थोड़ा कोशिश करता हूँ, लेकिन उनका क्या बताऊं. तबला वादक हूँ, बस सीखता हूँ. लेकिन बात ऐसा है जो इट इज सो आई फील इमोशन फॉर टुडे because we are all gathered to remember Indranilda, who is, I cannot forget him in my life. So many stories, not stories means, musical story that I cannot express today. But I met him, I remember 1969. That was, and then met means just he wanted me to play, and I played, and he liked that this boy is getting good talent. So he just took me on stage. It was great contribution of him to me to any tabla players, I think, because if you cannot be associate, आपको बड़े बड़े लोगों का साथ एसोसिएशन चाहिए। सिर्फ गुरु के पास तबला सीख के कुछ नहीं होता है। बड़े बड़े लोगों के पास डिफरेंट एक्सपीरियंस और उठना बैठना, यही तो म्यूजिक है। म्यूजिक तो लैंग्वेज लिख के रियाज तो अलग बात है। तो इंद्रनील दा ऑलवेज गॉट द बिहेवियर और व्हाटएवर द उनका बेटा जैसा ऐसा किया, आदर और प्यार किया। और स्पेशली आई केम टू him very close, that I was many times spent night in his Harish Mukherjee Road house, many days, and did riyaj also up to midnight. And my sister Keka used to learn long time with him. So उनका वो उसके साथ भी आते थे। बहुत कुछ एसोसिएशन मिला, जो एसोसिएशन हेल्प मी ए लॉट इन माय ये पाथ, म्यूजिकल पाथ में आने जाने के लिए ये बहुत जरूरी था। फिर जब इंद्रनील दा शांति निकेतन में गया था, he was literally forced me that Anindo, you have to come. I will give you नौकरी और तुम उधर रहना है, हम सब कुछ कर देंगे। और बहुत I was going to almost stay there, but my Guruji said that नाना बाद में देखा जाएगा, अभी तो इधर कलकत्ता में मेहनत करो और स्ट्रगल करो, फिर देखा जाएगा। उधर जाओगे तो ये हो जाएगा। एनीवे नहीं हुआ, लेकिन इंद्रदा का साथ every week he used to come on Wednesday and spend 2 days in Calcutta. So I used to see him at least once in a week. और इधर उधर जयपुर में, हम लोग जयपुर में वो राजस्थान फॉरेस्ट में, फॉरेस्ट लायन टाइगर वो सब, उसमें भी बहुत कुछ किया था इधर उधर इंडिया का बाद में। और इंद्रदा का जो बजाने का आपने पूछा था, बजाने का ये मुझे एक तो वन ऑफ द सेंचुरी ग्रेटेस्ट सितार प्लेयर निखिल बैनर्जी टोल्ड मी दैट इंद्रनील का जो डान हाथ का जो शेप है वो किसी का नहीं है। शेप वो तो मेरा बहन को भी वो गार्डर, वो रबर बैंड बिना के इतना अच्छा कर दिया। और आप सब लोग देख सकते हैं जो डान हाथ का जो उनका फिंगरिंग है और मूवमेंट है और शेप है, वो हाथ इतना अच्छा बैठाते हैं सगरेत को। जो इंद्रनील दा का हाथ, ये शायद वो फैमिली का ये है हेरिडिटी। क्योंकि देखिए वो इतना स्वपन दा ने जो बोला, जो किसी को इमिटेशन नहीं की, जो आप 1 मिनट में बता सकते हैं जो ये इंद्रनील भट्टाचार्य बजा रहे हैं, यही तो बात है। किसी को नकल कितना दिन चलेगा और इमिटेशन। तो इंद्रदा का ये था, मैं जब भी बजाया भी रवि जी का साथ भी वो सपोर्ट किया स्टेज पे, बहुत ही किया। रवि जी यूज्ड टू लव हिम डेफिनेटली। और ये था जो देखिए रवि जी का जो कीर्तन का फेमस है, वो कीर्तन इंद्रनील दा का हाथ में इतना कमाल था, मैं तो हैरान हो गया। और देखिए ये मैहर घराने का ये पूरा तालीम जो लिया अलाउद्दीन बाबा से, दादू से, तो इसका अलावा भी इनायत खानी, इमदाद खानी बाज जो उनका हाथ में था, ये इज नॉट इजी। ये बहुत ही ये था। एक दिन तो पूरा इनायत खां क्या बजाते थे ऐसा दिखा दे, ऐसा बजा सकते थे इंद्रदा। तो इतना टैलेंटेड गिफ्टेड कलाकार बहुत कम हमारे इसमें होता है। और माई golden time I spent maybe 20 days with आशीष दा and इंद्र दा in Germany and France. उसमें बहुत कुछ मजा आया। आशीष दा का कुकिंग, फेमस कुकिंग और म्यूजिक, और इंद्र दा का पीछे पीछे बहुत जोकिंग, और ये सब दिन का मतलब ये सब भी तालीम है। ये तालीम सिर्फ धाते निकटे तक नहीं है, ये भी तो तालीम होता है। स्वपन दा से जैसा मंत्र हम लोग सीखते हैं, कुछ है हमारा पर्सनल मंत्र, वो सब तालीम का होता है। तो जाए एनीवे, और इंद्र दा का डिफरेंट ताल का ऊपर इतना कॉन्फिडेंट था, ऐसा नहीं। अब मेरे ख्याल में उनका अंदर में ना वो डर और टेंशन और एंजाइटी ये बात ही नहीं था शायद, क्योंकि 11 मात्रा का चढ़तल की सवारी, ये धमार बोलो ये बोलो, कोई भी ताल में अनायास जाना आना होता था उनका, और हाथ का तो जवाब नहीं। और एक अपना जो बाज बनाया, देखिए वो इनायत खानी बाज भी है और माहिहार का भी है, और खरच पंचम का जो बाज आलाप जोड़ में जो करते थे वो तो लाजवाब। खरच पंचम में जो राग का पूरा अपना ट्रीटमेंट होता था वो तो मुश्किल है बात। तो यही जो उनके साथ मेरा बहुत टाइम रहा, बहुत टाइम स्पेंड किया, ये बहुत अच्छा है। क्योंकि आशीष दा का साथ भी मेरा टाइम सबसे ज्यादा स्पेंड हुआ, निखिल बनर्जी के साथ भी हुआ। तो ये नहीं होता तो ये खाली हो जाता। ये सब एक्सपीरियंस चाहिए जो आज इंद्र दा का ये जो हम लोग ओबिचुअरी कर रहे हैं, इसके लिए नहीं, ये तो हिस्ट्री में है। बिलायत खान साहब एक बार मुझे बोला, अनिंदो ये पेपर में तुम्हारा नाम और फोटो आने के लिए मत बजाओ, हिस्ट्री में नाम आने के लिए बजाओ।
क्या बात है।
हिस्ट्री में पेपर तो वो तो ग्रोसरी में चला जाएगा वो। एनीवे, तो ये सब लोग इंद्र दा का बहुत मेहनत करके और बहुत स्ट्रगलिंग उनका लाइफ में जो बजाया, और वो ये था जो ईगो कॉम्प्लेक्स ये नहीं देखा। ये जो आजकल बड़े ये सब चल रहा है वो तो नहीं था उनका, उनमें तो नहीं था। किसी दिन भी नहीं सुना किसी का कलाकार के बारे में कुछ बोला या उसका ये कमी है, उसका ये नहीं है, ये नहीं। तो एज ए ह्यूमन बीइंग ही वाज ग्रेट, आई मस्ट से। और अलग से जो एक बाज बनाया और बजाया हम लोग सुनते हैं, तो वो वी आर मिसिंग। आई मिस ऑलवेज। एंड I remember when Gidu, his daughter born, I was with him in the nursing home. And after that, we had a great dinner. I said, Indra, you have to give me dinner or lunch, whatever. So, anyway, I feel for Modi and they should be fine and peaceful. And for today, not for today, for whole life, इंद्रदा is इंद्रदा। You know, एक कलाकार आते हैं और उनका हिस्ट्री में हो जाता है। जो इंद्रदा ने अपने को ये जमाया, ये बहुत बड़ी बात है, उनको प्रणाम करता हूँ। और वो जो बोला ऐसा कलाकार और ऐसा दिल आजकल हमारे कलाकार में ज्यादा आ जाए तो बहुत अच्छा होगा संगीत का।
क्या बात है पंडित आनंदो जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। एक छोटा सा कुछ लयकारी का भी मुझे मिला, मैं वो थोड़ा हम प्ले करते हैं। अभी मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ पंडित रोनू मुजमदार जी से, और उसके पहले एक छोटा क्लिप प्ले करते हैं, ये कुछ खरज मीन गमक related। तो रोनू जी, मैं चाहूंगा घराना तो सेम, लेकिन थोड़ा सा जनरेशन आगे, तो आप कुछ इस पर बात इंद्रनील जी के ऊपर।
Actually, all these senior and great people have said everything, but in our generation also we connect with Indranil Kaka so much. Actually, I should be calling Ashish Kaka, but it so happened that he loved me so much last 35 or 40 years that from the beginning I've been calling him Dada. So that's kind of, he's Kaka also and Dada also. And I probably is the only musician in my generation who has played two duets with Ashish. It's my great, and one collaboration music even great SWAPAN sitting. He was there in Tabla in San Francisco. It was Shubhendu Banerjee organized that concert. So I think you showed the video. I was there in Kolkata. What happened? That was from Dover Lane. And I those days I used to go to Kolkata for concert in early 90s, little before my actual concert, not the day of the concert. I will just go stay here and there a little bit, visit our Dokhineshwar Kalibadi, because I grew up outside Kolkata and I'm from Varanasi. I'm kind of Pravasi Bangali. So I really enjoyed the air of Kolkata. So I was scheduled to play for Uttarpara Festival. And Torunda told me that Indranil Kaka is playing today. Why don't we go? And that is the only time I met him. I think this is the same video you have shown. Sehendra Madhyam, if I'm not wrong. Rag Sehendra Madhyam. So, and Sabi Bhai was playing tabla with him. And Torunda took me in the backstage after the concert and I took his blessing. And I really connected because it's pure Mayhar, as we all know, and it's the rag, and the rag was happening everywhere, not anything to prove or anything to show or anything. gimmick or anything. It was total music, just rag. And I remember Sopanda told me, I was playing for Guruji, Santosh Babu's dad. Sopanda invited me. In the beginning, he said, beginning of the concert, Ronu, please play the pure music. Don't go into any, just play pure, and they will love it. So these senior people, what they give, we realize slowly in our life. That time we don't realize sometimes. And I was in key with Ashish Da, and that Mayer Bandish, he corrected me. Really, sometimes I think and I had tears, And because I'm from Varanasi, so naturally our Pilu has little bit of Kajri effect always in. We have little Kajri effect always. So Sare Gama Ga, we never do. So I was doing some Kajri effect. Ashish Da immediately stopped me. He said, no. In my ear, Pada pa sa ni sa ga re ma pada pa ga re sa re ni sa re ga ma ga ne sa. So that we never do in Varanasi. But this is real Mayer style of Pilu. Mayer का जो एक आत्मा है, वो राग से भी ज्यादा एक आत्मा है. तो वो आत्मा का दर्शन हुआ. तो इंद्रनील काका का वो जो राग में आत्मा होता था, फिर बाद में रंजनी जी भी इधर है, मेरी छोटी बहन जैसी है. तो it's my so great luck that 2 times I played in his memory in Kolkata. Once Vikram was there, and then Tanmay was there with me. One pure classic, no fusion of those kind of things. So I just said that I will definitely play. Anindo Bhai was there. So, and just remembering him, his presentation of any rag at the purest form. मैहर का जो खास बात है कि राग में कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं, अगर नहीं सीखा है कोई राग तो वो नहीं बजाएंगे, मगर बजाएंगे तो प्योर से बजाएंगे. तो बहुत दफे आशिदा से बात होती है, प्योर से नहीं बजाएंगे तो सीडी से नहीं सीखेंगे ना, तालीम से सीखेंगे थोड़ा. तो ये सब बातें हैं. और एक तो आपने बजाया आशीष दा का और इंद्रनील काका का जो ये डुएट है, इसमें बहुत सीखते हैं हम लोग, क्योंकि प्लान नहीं है, रिहर्स किया हुआ ऑर्केस्ट्रा पार्टी जैसा नहीं है. तो मालूम है वो इतना नेचुरल है कि वही है आत्मा का जुगलबंदी, वननेस ऑफ माइंड, एकात्मन, एक मन एक आत्मा. सो दैट हैज बीन रियली path showing for us. जुगलबंदी कैसा होना चाहिए. So when we started playing Golden Trio, हमारा विश्वमोहन जी, मेरा, तरुणदा का, और या कुछ जुगलबंदी करे तो वो हमारे लिए एक बेंचमार्क है कि ये डुएट ऐसा होना चाहिए. अभी थोड़ा ग्लिम्स आपने बजाया जयवंत भाई, तो ये तो ग्लिम्सेस है, मगर उसमें भी आत्मा मिल गया. Even in those glimpses we got the आत्मा.
मैं वही फिर शायद प्ले करूंगा, क्योंकि उस समय आशीष जी शायद आईफोन पे थे, उन्होंने शायद उस समय सुना नहीं.
That Kirwani is a milestone album. Still, I think that is from Gopinath, I mean Stuttgart.
Yeah.
I think, if I remember right. You correct me. And one thing before because then Ranjani will talk, Anindo Bhai will talk. And cooking, as Anindo Da said, when I played first time in Maihar, I played Abhogi, still I remember. And Ashish Da was at home, and the microphone, because it's a Pandal concert always, it was early 90s again, 89 or 88. So he heard in the light, because I got my chance 2 o'clock in the night and I was playing Abhogi Kabla. So he told Kailash Jain that कि अरे ये सा कौन लगाया, उसको घर में बुला, मैं खाना खिलाऊंगा उसको. So second day morning, from that moment I have been very much loved by and pampered, और जो लाड़ प्यार बड़ों का मिलता है, ऐसा ही सोबंदा से मिलता है, ऐसे ही आनंद दा से मिलता है. So we have been very lucky to witness this generation, so that we can give the same love to the generation next. वो हमें respect करे नहीं करे, वो उनका काम है. We will give the love to them as much as we can do. I remember I played in पाड़ा का concert में, जो कलकत्ता में एरिया concert होता है उसको बोलते हैं पाड़ा concert. I played and I went to Sobanda's house. food, that loving stories of that बोनीदी बाड़ी बोलते हैं हम लोग, खानदानी मकान जो होता है, तो वो प्यार इन लोगों से हम सीखते हैं।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद रोनू जी। एक मिनट, अभी हम जय विश्वदेवा जी को जरा, आई रिक्वेस्ट जय विश्वदेवा जी टू शेयर his memories, especially I think sir, you have been organizing, and I am very sure that this association with Pandit Indranil Bhattacharya ji would have been much more beyond patron, beyond, you know. I would like you to throw light on that.
Thank you. I'm really honored to be on this panel, and some great friends and great musicians are here. But Indranil ji was a wonderful human being, wonderful person. I was very young when I first met him. That was in 1975. I was associated with the Sanskritic Festival of Arts of India. And at that time, I think we had organized about 15 concerts. And I remember Indranil ji performed as a part of the festival. There were about 11 artists. And whenever his solo performance was presented, that's how I came to know more about his music. And there was a beautiful correlation between him on the stage as a concert artist and off stage as a human being. And a very important quality of his music was that he never hurried. He always gave 100%. He put his full ethos in the music. He was able to bring out some of the finest nuances. And at that time, I only heard about 6 to 7 sitar masters, including Raviji, Pandit Nikhil Banerjee, Ustad Imran Khan Sahab. And Indranil ji was perhaps amongst the first 5 or 6 sitar players that I've heard in England at that stage. So during that time, on the ensemble pieces, his contribution was immense, because his late father, Pandit Timir Baran, was a great contributor during, and he was a contemporary of Baba Alauddin Khan Sahab. And his contribution as a part of an orchestral side was also embedded in him, having been the last batch of the students under Baba Alauddin Khan Sahab. And I'm glad Pandit Vasantrai ji was mentioned as well, because he too was one of my close friends during that time when I first met him. Now, in the early period of his tour, Indranil ji, I was just getting to know him. He was considered a shy person. And once you got to know him, he opened up. And then after the tour, I did not connect with him until 1994, when a historic concert took place at the Royal Festival Hall. It was the first all-night concert ever in its history, and it was built in 1951. So in 1994, October, the Festival Hall management gave a green signal, because there was a conference of promoters, and I said, why can't we not have an all-night facility? And luckily, on that same day, I was given an offer. I took it. It was October 14th. And in this particular presentation, the Jugalbandi was with ASHISH Bhai, and they opened the all-night concert to a capacity audience. And that concert was recorded live, and they played Rag Hembihag and Shyam Kalyan, which was later released on the Navras label. And it is considered one of the best ever recording of this duet, for a long time. And then that experience of the all-night concert, the proximity of sitting with Ashish Bhai, Indranil ji, during the concert time, and it was a very moving experience, because to come out first, the audience is fresh. It started at 7:30, and I believe they played for a little over 2 hours. For me, that was a very poignant moment. And Festival Hall has never given consent to an all-night concert ever, and it's part of history. And his contribution, the recording in the archives, the Festival Hall do have archival recordings. Whatever is released, it is there, you know. And then later on, during the India's 50th anniversary, I invited Indranilji, ASHISH Bhai, and this time it was SWAPAN on tabla. And I believe Praneshji was there. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But that concert also was at the South Bank, but this time at a smaller concert hall, Queen Elizabeth Hall. And later on, we recorded Indranilji at the Kufa Gallery. And there are a number of recordings, unreleased material, and in which he has been given full freedom to play some of the most beautiful rags that he chose himself. I'll be able to share this information soon. And these are for posterity. They will be released at some point soon through Sony India. The label, the catalog the new catalog is with them. We are just working out certain modalities and so forth. So whatever was recorded and not released is slowly coming out. Although the recording business is no longer the same, but we have some of the great recordings of Indranilji and on solo as well as duet. And I think his contribution has been immense in terms of what he played, how he played. And a lot of people had said to me at the concert and afterwards that it was such a beautiful experience that ASHISH Bhai and Indranilji, accompanied by SWAPAN in '97, was one such historic moment. And the earlier concert where ANINDO Bhai played tabla for the '94 concert, they are a part of history. And I think a lot of people have come back to me over the years. You know, it's like on the internet, there are stories being shared by so many people. I receive commentaries from something that happened 40, 50 years ago. People had attended and people do write. And this experience, which I believe Indranilji left with me during those times, his visits to UK, I will never forget. And I believe during my 25 years of association from 1975 to 2000, I could say that his contribution to the UK cultural life has been over 20 concerts, and he performed at all the great concert halls of UK.
Thank you so much, Jaiji, for sharing your experience. Now I would request Anindya Sarkarji to talk a little bit about his journey as a student, and then he has been into the family. Anindya.
Thank you so much. Thank you. At the very outset, I have one small admission here. I feel deeply humbled and overawed to share this platform with the Buzurgs, my gurus and Guru Saman, Ustad ASHISH Khan Sahab, Pandit CHAUDHURI, Pandit ANINDO, CHATTERJEE, RONU Dada. And I initially asked Ranjani why you are kind of bringing me here. I mean, I'm man, I look completely out of place. Nevertheless, thanks to you and thanks to Vishwajit that you both insisted that I share some of my experiences and my associations with him. So I'll try and do that in a very brief manner. Well, Indranilji to me was a very profound person. profound person, both as an artist and as an individual, which all of you have so very fondly recalled and recollected. There's very little that I can say about the music because I shouldn't be audacious enough to try and talk about the kind of music he played. Obviously, he was one of the pillars of our gharana. So what he played and what he has left behind will remain in the annals of history, as very correctly said. I would rather talk about the person that I saw from a very close distance after I got married to Ranjani. I'll narrate a few very funny incidents, which I think all of you would like. There was this incident. I was visiting Shantiniketan. The train which I used to take to Shantiniketan those days used to reach around 12:30 p.m. And one had to take a cycle rickshaw because that was the only mode of conveyance those days. Taxis and cars were a far cry. So it took about half an hour to reach Ranjani's place. And I used to reach around lunchtime. So I was there on that occasion. I come into the house and I see Indranilji in shorts and a t-shirt, sweating profusely and cooking. As Pandit Sapil Chaudhuri very rightly recalled, all kalakars are big kalakars, and I find a very uncanny resemblance in all of them. They are all fantastic cooks, and so was Indranilji. And I said, well, someone's coming in the evening, you're cooking so much. No, we are coming, we are here. So it's between us. So that was Indranilji in one way. For him, every day was a day of celebration, and he knew how to live life to the full, and he did it exactly. A very profound person, very intense person. Some small recollections about his teachings to me, but before I say that, I must say that before coming in contact with Indranilji, I learnt under Ustad Danish Khan Sahab, my guru, from a tender age of about 14-15 years. When I was in class 8, I remember it was Janmashtami when my father took me to Ustad Danish Khan Sahab's Danish Da's place at Hindustan Mart in Gariyahat, and I was introduced to him, and I got my sarod. I am a left-handed sarod player, so him and Babu took a lot of time to do that. Anyway, so I learnt under Dhanishda. So when I learnt under Dhanishda from 1977, I think, till he passed away in 1991. And I met Ranjani sometime around 1988. 88 was, I think, the year. And I started visiting their place in Shantiniketan, and I came in contact with Pandit Indranil Bhattacharya. So the very first thing he said that you are Danish's disciple. He is a fantastic teacher. So you are very lucky to have a guru like him. Please carry on with your lessons under him. And yes, of course, I am there as an artist of the same gharana. I will obviously show you a few things whenever you come to me. That's not a problem. But you keep learning under Danish. So I was continuing with my classes and my lessons with Ustad Danish Khan Sahab. And then, unfortunately, as we all know, we lost him in 1991. Danish passed away. And that was a very, very sad moment for all of us. And then I formally started learning from Indranilji. I started taking lessons from him. Very small recalling of the way he used to teach. He always used to say that, look, you are a sarod player. Your sarod in Maihar has a lot of tantrakari angs, tantrakari baz. So that's something where you should come visit ASHISH. I mean, they used to call each other by their first names. Ustad Ashish Khan Sahib, Ashish Dada is here. So you should take these lessons from Ashish, and you. But I was very afraid. I must admit, I was very afraid to come to Ashish Dada. I was almost overawed. So I visited him once in a while, very few times, and far between. So after 1991, Danish was passing away. I took it up. I started taking formal lessons from Indranilji. There are numerous anecdotes that I can talk of, but obviously, due to paucity of time, I'll limit myself to only one incident and how fantastically he used to teach. I took lessons of Ragmiya Malhar from Thanesdar. He taught me with a lot of about Miya Malhar, about how the Gandhar, the Shruti of Gandhar, how it should be used, and the corresponding things. And when I started taking up lessons with Indranilji, he first showed me Miya Malhar and said, well, you have learnt it quite nicely. You have been taught. Few things that I could possibly tell you about this. And then after Miya Malhar, he started teaching me Rag Gaur Malhar. Gaur Malhar is, as we all know, is such a sweet, beautiful, romantic rag. And this is what he had to say about this. And this is amazing. And that's why I wanted to recall this. He said, beta, Miya Malhar is like, you're waiting for your beloved to come to you. You see it's clouding, and the clouds are becoming darker and darker and more intense. Gradually it starts raining, and then gradually it starts pouring very heavily. And your thoughts about your beloved in this rain, whether she's supposed to come to you, you're wondering, you are a little apprehensive about whether she would be able to reach you finally, whether what she is, where she is now, whether drenched under a tree, quite helpless and things like that. So that's Miya Malhar. And about Gaur Malhar, he said, well, this is a completely different story. She's there, right there next to you. You're possibly holding each other's hand and staring at the huge, expansive field, the greenery in front of you. You see the rains coming from a distance, and gradually, it intensifies and comes to you, and then finally overwhelms you all around. And the joy of watching the rain with your beloved next to you is what Gaur Malhar is all about. So these are amazing things that a guru can only teach to his disciple. As I was told by someone, again a very revered person in Hindustani classical music, that this is Guru Mukhi Vidya. That means the guru has to show you the light. No matter how much you learn theory, no matter how much you listen to good music, ultimately you have to have a good guru who will give you the insight within you to be able to understand the ragas. So that was Indranil ji. I could
Thank you
carry
so
on
much,
and on.
Anindya ji.
Yeah.
Thank you
So
so much.
I now, yeah.
It was nice for you to recollect some memories. And now there is one
Yeah, I give it to you.
picture I would like to show. Pandit Swapan Chaudhuri ji. This is a very old program, a small old clipping we could get, where you are performing with Pandit Ravi Shankar ji and Pandit Indranil Bhattacharya ji. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to recollect something, but since all musicians are very distinct, so what was distinct about the stalwarts? I mean, 1 minute, I have to unmute you. Yeah.
I remember this concert. Now, when I see this, I remember this. It happened in Indoor Stadium, Kolkata, and but I have, as far as I remember, that concert, Indranil played so fantastic. In fact, on the stage, Ravi Shankar ji several times praised him like, "Bah, Indranil, bah, bajao bhai, bajao, aur bajao." Ravi ji, a personality like Pandit Ravi Shankar ji, and on the stage he was like a lion, but he was praising Indranil, and I can't even express the emotion at that time, that how Indranil played with him the way Ravi Shankar ji wanted him to play. And when his time came and Indranil it was like he was flying. And it was beautiful. That's what I remember at that time. And the whole audience was spellbound after that concert. And everybody was talking about Indranil that night. But the way Raviji led Indranil into that scene and allowed him to show his depth, his talim was just fascinating. It's so much like what Ronu was saying, that we can learn so much seeing all these older generation, their gesture, their kindness, their love, and it's so much to learn. And that night, I remember the Indranil was superb.
Thank you so much, Pandit Swapanji. Ustad Ashish Khan ji, I would like to play that small Jugalbandi clip once again, because I think you were on iPhone that time. So, Ustadji, my submission is that I don't think in this generation there is something like this about sharing of music. So what is your message? Like how can this chemistry happen?
Well, there is a good side, there is a bad side. But the problem is, most of our young musicians, they're after money and name and fame to be achieved overnight. That is not possible. I can tell from my experience of Talim and Riyaz, I had to practice 12 hours a day for, in the morning, afternoon, and evening, on top of whenever my grandfather used to call me on certain particular time to teach me that particular rag on that time. It's not that he's teaching evening rag in the morning. So this is how I've been taught. And Riyaz, I had to, whether it's a winter or summer. Winter used to be very difficult because it used to be so cold in Maihar and the sarod plate is freezing. And just to touch the plate was a hard time. And in summertime it was so hot, so hot. But anyway, still I did my riyaz 12 hours a day and then his talim on top of. But today's musician, I don't see any great musician coming out because our generation, I consider myself the last person of this generation because I come from the oldest because I was very lucky to born in a time when I heard, seen, associated with all these top, most of the top, musicians, singers, dancers, even the tabla masters, I was very lucky to be able to play all the great tabla masters, starting from my first concert, you won't believe it, which gives me goosebumps. It was a national program in Delhi, which Pandit Ravi Shankar ji was there and Dr. Narayan Menon. So they started this program every Saturday. And first program they started with Ustad Bismillah Khan Sahab. The second was with my grandfather. So that was the time I had to go with him, and I played with my grandfather. The air conditioned room was so cold, my hands were freezing. Anyway, and tabla was played by Pandit Kante Maharaj. Can you imagine? This is my starting, Then, of course, I played many times with Pandit Kishan Maharaj and just name it. Karamat Khan Sahab was a radio staff, he was in Calcutta. So I always had a live broadcast recording with him. So I played many times with him. Then Kanada I played few concerts. Then Chatterjee, because I was in Delhi with Aviji. So I played with him. And then Shanta Prasad ji, oh my God, so many times. We become very good friends also. Then ANINDO is here. I played with him. SWAPAN. This is the next generation, which I was lucky to play. Mahapurush ji, I should not forget him. We became very good friends. We traveled to America in 1967 with my father, where he was teaching at the Berkeley with him. And then just name it. I mean, Shankarda, of course. Then at present, I played few concerts. I mean, before that, I played with Bikram Ghosh. In fact, I took him to South Africa. That was his first debut playing with me and touring with me in South Africa. That was a great experience. I went to that jungle safari, and I was very close to the lions. I wanted to get down because my another hobby is taking pictures, photography, which I learned from a very great master of photograph. He was known as a Leica man. So anyway, he taught me all kind of how to process the negatives and enlargement and things like that. So I was very much deeply, involved in photography. Still, I do. Still, when I see a good camera, I'd like to buy it. Though I don't find much more of this subject to photograph. But I was lucky to take photographs of my but most of these photographs which you see of my grandfather was taken by me, because he never liked anybody taking a photograph. He used to get angry. So I was the only one who could allow to take his picture, and I could ask him, sit like this, look at this. So he never used to mind anything. So I've taken a lot of good photographs of him. There's one portrait, that color portrait. You will see how simple this man was. He has a kurta with a tin button those days, and the big hole right here on this kurta, and has a very witty smile. That's a color portrait, and my specialty was to take portraits. That's what I learned from my photographic guru. So today's musicians, I feel very sad, and especially now there's so much politics going on that was never before there. Before was you have to prove yourself. Are you a good musician? You're better than this musician or not? And that kind of challenge, that kind of you know, it's not insulting anybody, but like try to prove yourself with your music, with your knowledge, and with your performance. But now forget it, and they try to destroy you. If somebody is a good musician, wants to come up, try to put him down, and making your own groups. I mean, there's so much groups in Calcutta, my God. And I'm so glad I'm away from that, because when I go there, I hear so many things. Then I say, my God, I was better in America than rather getting brainwashed or brain poisoned rather with all this politics. So this is the problem with today's younger generation, and they won't learn properly, and they try to imitate. I mean, we used to make a joke before. There was a joke about, which gharana? Oh, this is cassette gharana. Then this is a cassette gharana, and then before cassette was LP. Yes, LP gharana, long playing record. Now it has become a CD gharana instead of CD-ROM. So this is the present problem with the new musicians, and then imitating. I mean, nothing of original, because they don't have talim. They don't know A to Z of any rag or any tal. Just everything is copied. What Nikhil Banerjee has played, let's copy that. What Ravi Shankar ji has played, let's copy that. Same thing with Sarod. Yeah, so I don't know what is the future is of our music. I feel and see is very dark. That's all I can say. I'm trying to create some, not create. I'm trying to have some good disciples who are very dedicated, and they're still learning from me on Sarod. So I hope they will continue this, at least our Mahar Gharana's talim, and that's all I can say right now.
Thank you, Sarji, for your frank assessment.
I wanted to conclude with this. People should know this is, I've written a book. This is the first kind of a book which for the intermediate and advanced students is called.
It's 13 hours.
It's called, I'll show you the cover. It's called the Sangeet, and it's all in Western notation. Yeah, this is all in Western notation. And it has, this is the first book on morning ragas, and the fixed like a tans and tihais of different tal. So anybody who wants to learn Indian music, especially our Westerners, at least they can take the guidance from this book, and then later on, if they want to develop, they can find a guru where they can, learn. That's what I can say.
Thank you, Ustadji. And quickly, I would,
We
मैं
must,
अनिंदो जी आप,
thank,
पंडित अनिंदो जी
yes,
से
we
मैं
must
दरखास्त
thank on behalf of us, we must thank Ranjani and Anindo and you for the hosting these things and to manage Shapanda, Ashishda in this early morning to join us, and Jay, your contribution also for the music is amazing. I know, last 30 years, okay, isn't it?
In the 70s. That's how I met you.
Last year in South Bank.
Yes, yes. Well, anyhow, the thing is that United Kingdom, you see, there have been phases where great music has been presented and recorded for posterity, and I think we were part of that genesis. I mean, all the concerts that were recorded then were released through Navras Records, and Navras Records now, although it's not a functioning label, but it is still a footbridge to release via Sony India with a relationship of over 20 years. So classical music that was recorded over the last 30, 35 years is slowly going to come out as a digital release, and at least the artist will have some sort of sustenance, And I'm going to say that since this program is a dedication to Indranilji, he played 4 or 5 very beautiful rags of his choosing at the Kufa Gallery, and these rags were Marwa, Shuddh Kalyan, and Ahir Lalit. And in this performance, you will see what he played as a solo. Of course, the two or three concerts prior to that were a duet. And then there was a long gap when he appeared in 1975. And I've got the brochure of that festival. This is called the Sanskritic Festival of Arts of India.
Okay.
And in here, you'll see Indranilji's photograph there amongst other artists. See? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. There it is.
Yeah.
That's how I remember Indranilji when I first met him. And then, of course, and then much later in '94, this was a festival. It was a duet concerts, and this all-night concert appears in this section, and you can see the galaxy of artists performing that night. See, Indranilji is here.
Yeah. Yes.
And then in '97, this was the concert at the Queen Elizabeth Hall. And that's Rag release of the previous concert of theirs, Rag Hembihag and Sham Kalyan. So I can say safely that all this contribution it's a very amazing body of work. I mean, I was very young when I started being associated with music, barely 10, 11 years old. And I've had this fantastic journey, I mean, I do not know how I've done it, but if you look at the period, I think it was inspiration, like Ashish Bhai and Sapanda have said before, that my passion was because these people inspired.
Wow.
Ali Akbar Khan Saab, Pandit Nikhil Banerjee, Ravi Ji, Ustad Ali Akbar Khan Saab. I was so young when I was sitting with these masters, and I started touring with them. I was hardly 20 years old. And I have perhaps the most beautiful memories. I can recollect so many poignant moments of music, especially what goes on the stage and what and off stage. And of course, the common thread in all this music fraternity was that the artists loved to have great food, so they were great cooks. They used to travel abroad, they were by themselves in a hotel or apartments, and they were very keen to have their own food. Without good food, you can't perform, you know. And obviously, Indian food, wherever it is also part of culture, with language, with music, and so forth. You are carrying your culture all over the world, you know. And that's why I feel that the period that I was associated, I'm still working in the arts, but not as much as I did before. That for every aspect, you have to give your heart and soul. And in this particular example, Pandit Indranil ji had abundance of heart and soul, you know, that he never compromised on his performance. As I've just listened to some of his recordings earlier, and also the ones that are coming out, I can recall what uh, what he put in those performances, you know. And these are solo concerts. And hopefully I'll be talking to Ranjani about this at some point. But these are an important part of Indranilji's life. There were moments, I mean, these recordings were done 20 years ago, 25 years ago. But also at the same time, the Sanskritic festival also had a lot of his concerts recorded. And you know, the comment that I made earlier, that he was like a great captain in this ensemble, because he was the most experienced musician of that 15-member group, uh, which toured UK, performed in the best concert halls, you know. So the other comment that Ashish Bhai made earlier was that the soul, the heart, the passion is missing in today's music. And how so right he is, because everything has become business. The essence of music is not discussed at all, you know. uh, and everybody is in now control of what he wants to put out on the social media, you know. But in those days, everything was done with heart and soul, you know. Without that, you could not deliver a program of the stature of the musicians who have worked so hard over the years to deliver high class performance. And that's what's lacking in today's music world. It is more
Thank
about
you, JJ.
technical matter rather than, you know, the heart of the matter.
Thank you, JJ. Thank you so much. And I'll now quickly run through some old photographs. Ranjani ji, I request you to quickly let us know a little bit about these photographs.
I recall this to be in my heart. So this was a rare honor and a rare privilege we had. Um, at that point of time, Alauddin Dadu's mazar was constructed over there. So this was the Chaddar Charana ceremony, and Ashish Kaku couldn't come that year. This was in the Mayar festival that when Baba went to perform there. So Dida, I mean Ali Dadu, Dida, I used to call Ustad Ali Khan Sahib as Ali Dadu. And so Dida told Baba that since no family members are present here, this is a rare opportunity for you and a great a privilege for you to do the honors. So Baba laid the first chaddar on the cemetery of Alauddin Dadu. So that's what I can recall. Well, this Ashish Kaku might be able to recall. If you could just zoom the pic a little more, it will be nice. This is the on the far left corner. You can see Pandit Ji. where Ashish Kaku and Baba, they are playing. I cannot see anybody from here. Yes. So this was what I heard from my mother, that Ashish Kaku, you may be recalling this. Ali Dadu, Rovi Dadu, Baba and Ma, they share the same birthday month. They were all born in April. So Robi Dadu suggested, why not we celebrate all of the birthdays together? And this was some place in Mumbai. If Ashish Kaku can recall which house this was, I am not too sure about that. So that must be some experience for Baba and Ashish Kaku to be playing in front of Robi Dadu. So Ashish Kaku might throw some light here. Can you recall this incident, Ashish Kaku?
No, I don't remember. Believe me. Even I was surprised to see this picture. It's been collected.
Yeah. Now this Shapun Kaku might be able to say about this photograph. I cannot throw much light on this. This was with Dida.
That's my mother. Yeah, that's.
Yes. And both were talking. They had a very loving relationship.
Yeah.
And Begum Akhtarji is here.
Here I can see Begum Akhtar and Sapan in the back.
Kaku. Yeah. And Baba wearing the sunglass.
The Indian embassy invited us on 26th January program in Nepal. So this was in Nepal.
Okay. Thanks, Shapun Kaku, for this information. I didn't know about it. I just had these photographs.
Yeah, this is Sanjit Tamani guy, Begum Akhtarji. There were Kelicharan Mahapatra, Indra, our ambassador. It was.
Yeah. Is Kelucharan Mahapatraji here in this photograph?
Yes, just after the second on the right side of Sanjita Panigai.
Right.
Second.
Yeah. I have seen him. Yeah. With the Jahar coat, he's wearing this Jahar coat, I think. Yeah. Okay. This again is Baba, and I'm sorry, I don't recognize these.
It looks like Acharya Bhattacharya.
Sorry?
Yeah,
this
was in Bombay. And next to me is the person, I'm forgetting his name. He used to arrange this Srisringar Sangeet Sanmelan, and he used to give chances to all the young musicians. So myself, Indranil, played the duet. And now that is Acharya Brihaspati next to Indranil.
Okay.
And I'm forgetting the name of our, spot.
Bridge Narayan. Ashish Bhai is Bridge Narayan.
Oh yes, Bridge Narayan.
Bridge Narayan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we go to a picture earlier, 3 pictures earlier, black and white?
Which one? Group one?
There's a group photograph, and I'll tell you what that photograph represents. No, before. No, after this one. This one. This photograph has been taken at the residence of the Indian High Commission, and the High Commissioner High Commissioner Mr. B.K. Nehru is behind the tall gentleman in the middle, and on his right is Pandit Mani Prasad and Indranil Bhattacharya.
Yes. And in front, I think Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, isn't it?
Yeah, this is Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit.
Yes.
Yes,
and
right.
This is a festival of India which I mentioned about when I first met Indranil ji. This is 1975, and it's a reception at the Indian High Commission's residence.
Okay.
And the gentleman on the far right, meaning on the left side, is Mr. C.M. Master who used to be the chairman of a major shipping company called the Sindhya. They were sponsors of the festival. And the person on the extreme right is Virendra Shankarji, who was the director of the festival.
Right.
Okay.
And then you got BP and Shanta Dhananjain there. Then you have Pandit Manisha Prasad at the back row, and then you have Vishnu Sandhu Khan, Asif Ali Khan, who used to play the sarangi, and then you had Shanta Zaveri, Darshana Zaveri.
Darshana
in the
Zaveri,
front,
yes.
So there were a lot of these 15, 16 musicians participated in the festival.
JJ, I would like to take the names again later from you. So because
Yeah, I will
want
help
to
you
know
with it. But it's great to see these pictures.
Yeah. Now, this I must say, this is Anindo da. Do you remember coming to Shantiniketan when Sadam Jadali Khan Sabji was present? I think you remember that those days we spent in Shantiniketan. So this was sorry.
Mohan Singh was there. You were
Yes,
there,
Mohan Singh.
and
Yeah. So this was happened. I'm when I recall this incident, I feel so shy to mention this. So I wasn't really ready to take this photograph. So I was standing in a corner. So Kansabji just stopped the photographer and said, "Ranjani, why are you standing there? Come and sit beside me." And that's how I featured that.
So, thank you very much, Ranjani ji. And we already, I think, taken a lot of time. All seniors have come here. So by name, I would like to thank Ustad Ashish Khan ji, Pandit SWAPAN Chaudhuri ji, Pandit Anindo Chatterjee ji, Jai Vishwadeva ji, Anindya Sarkar ji, and Ranjani ji, Pandit RONU MAJUMDAR ji, for having come and
And also, I would like
sitar
to
maestro
thank
Pandit Indranil Bhattacharya ji on this occasion, and especially at this very difficult times in the pandemic times. There are a lot of, even I'm sure, a lot of youngsters and even seniors would have got a lot to know and a lot of message.
And also, sorry, did I interrupt?
And I'd like to thank Jayantji for organizing and to everybody to participate in this beautiful moment which we all shared.
And actually, Vishwajit had initiated this. Vishwajit Babaraj Chaudhuri ji. So he wanted this happen to.
Your voice is echoing.
Okay. Actually, I was mentioning about Vishwajit Da, who really was behind the scene, and I thank him also and all of you to have spared your valuable time with us.
Vishwajit Rajaji.
Yes.
Thank you.
It was very good. Yeah.
Namaskar to all.
Must convey my deepest regards to all of you, and it's a privilege to share this platform with all of you. And thanks so much to Jayantji and Vishwajit Da for taking this initiative, great initiative. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to say thank you from my side. I'd like to say thank you to everyone, and I hope to reconnect the old times in London soon.
I'd like to
thank you so very much.
I'd like to say thank you to everybody for coming to this meeting, and Jayantji, thank you very much for inviting me. I know in California it's too early in the morning, but this is kind of a rare occasion, and I would like to thank everybody and also the listeners listening and also watching this program. It's a very important program, and also to Vishwajit because I know him very well from his childhood. And Ranjani, if you have a time, you can ask him that he got him to Indranil Bhattacharya to study.
Sorry.
So anyway, so thank you everybody. Thank you Jay, thank you Anita, thank you both Anindo, thank you Ronu Bhai, and
Thank you so very much.
thank you Ashish da, and
Ashish da, pranam. Take care. Keep well.
yeah.
Pranam,
Everyone.
pranam to all of you.
Pranam.
Thank you, Jayji.
Manjula,
And thanks,
take care.
Jayji.
The viewers.
Pranam.
Seniors.
Pranam. Thank you.
Pranam. Thank you.
Ranjani, ভালো থেকো, আনন্দ ভাই ভালো থেকো।
Thank you.